Hello and welcome, this is AgentXP, and welcome back to another author playthrough. Today we will be playing my 8th TRLE, which is called Forest Kingdom, and as you can see from the title screen, this game is based on Tomb Raider 2 Gold, namely the 4th level, which is called Kingdom. And this is kind of a reimagination of that level. It is not identical, however, you may recognise a few areas, which is partly why I gave it a slightly different name, so it's called Forest Kingdom instead of Kingdom. And this is quite possibly my favourite TRLE that I have built to date. I am really proud of this one. I love it so much, and I'm going to have fun playing it through again. I haven't played it for a while. I released this level as part of the 2017 Lara's Level Base Advent Calendar as a celebration of 20 years since the original release of Tomb Raider 2. This level features an updated texture set created by myself as a kind of reimagination of the original Kingdom textures. So once again, the textures are not identical, they simply attempt to recreate the feel of the original. And another thing this game has is 3 different outfit options. In this video we're going to be playing with the original bomber jacket outfit. So let's dive on into the game. We are greeted with this camera view. As in the original, Lara begins the level in this cage, and we have to find a way out. So let's turn to the left and hop over this box, and if we push it forwards onto the tile with the golden face texture, then that will open the wooden trapdoor that we have just moved off. And we need to be careful not to fall down here, as there is quite a drop. So hop over the trapdoor. No, Lara, we want to pull the switch, and this will open the door to the cage, and we are greeted by the forest residents, some very angry yetis, and we need to be careful that these yetis don't push us into that trapdoor or push us off any of the ledges. Now, there is a knack to fighting these yetis. In the original release version of this game especially, you need to try not to shoot the yetis when they're pounding their chests, as if you do, you will cause minimal damage to them. Those yeti enemies are based off the ninjas in Tomb Raider 4 that swing their swords, so try and shoot them when they are not pounding their chests. And if you are aiming at one that is pounding its chest, then try and press look to switch targets, or simply put your guns away and get your guns back out in order to stop the yeti pounding its chest. So if we run over here, we can see this pile of crystals, and if we press action we can pick up one of the crystals, and it's called glowstone. So instead of having flares in this level, as it's a sort of fantasy style level, we will have glowstone, so we can pick up some of the golden material that we see around and use it as a flare. There's another one here, so we can pick that up, and on the left there's a poor unfortunate skelly, and we can claim some shotgun ammo from him. Now be very careful as we run through this cave, as there is a spike pit in the middle, so we're going to want to jump over that. And we can see at the end here there is another area that we can't explore yet, as we don't yet have the golden key. But if we stand in front of the door, we can pick up a shotgun. And as we do, we will get a camera view showing another yeti spawning in the cage. So as we make our return, we need to be mindful, as he is going to come after us. So have your guns at the ready and be sure to defend yourself. He's a very angry yeti. So if we put our guns away, we will cause more damage. You will cause a bit of damage if they're pounding their chests, but not as much as if they are not. So putting your guns away can be a neat trick, especially when there's only one. And if there are multiple yetis, you can press look to retarget. So if we hop around to the front of the cage, we can find some goodies, and this poor unfortunate Skelly dropped some Uzis. So if you bother to explore this initial area, you can come away with 2 of the weapons in this game. And I did that intentionally because there are a good number of Yetis to kill, so you will need some powerful weapons. And if we hop up on this rock, we can claim a large medkit. Once you have that, slide back down, and we want to make our way back up to the cage. Whoops, come on Lara, climb up the rocks, and we can hop back in the cage after appreciating our surroundings a little. So you may have noticed that there is a switch on the outside of the cage, and if you're a bit confused by this, the reason for that is that it's possible to enter the rest of the level without opening the door to the cage, and we will emerge outside at a later point. And if we do this, then that switch allows you to re-enter the cage should you want to. So we slide down and we find ourselves in a golden area, and you can see here that there is a ladder, and it is possible to grab that ladder and climb back up, but you have to do it from a higher ledge as it's quite high up. So hop into this cave and be sure to avoid the very bright golden lava, as that is molten gold, and if Lara touches that, then it will be very bad news for her, so try not to do that. So hop around the edge of the pool of gold and we can claim some more glowstone. So if we run on into this passage, we can pull ourselves into this small alcove and claim some goodies, and this is the ledge that you need to stand on if you want to grab that ladder and climb back up into the cage. And it is possible to do that, I just had the wrong angle there, and I'm not going to persist, but you get the idea. If you really want to climb back up the ladder, you can. So now we're going to investigate this hallway, and it's a good idea to save before sliding down this slope, and then you'll need to jump as soon as you reach the end, and jump to the next wooden platform and pull up straight away, as they are going to collapse. And we can shimmy around this crack to the left, and Lara is eventually able to reach a golden ledge, and you can stand on this. It's only the bright golden lava that you can't stand on. And be careful of this tree root because it does have collisions, so be sure that that doesn't cause you to fall in the lava. Pull the switch and we will get a camera showing us that the room has changed to water. And if we dive down, we can find a gem floating in the water, and it's very important that we pick that up, as otherwise the door in the other room will not be open and we can't proceed any further. So climb out and pull this lever, and the door at the top of the hallway will open and we can leave this area. That room we just came from was a tribute to a room I particularly liked in the original level. And in fact, this whole section is slightly similar. So what we need to do here is hop over this pool once again, and we can make our way around the side of the room and then jump to the ledge in the middle. Now here we need to slide on these slopes and jump from one ledge to the other. Now we could have done this earlier, but we would have found the door closed, and that's because we need the gem in order to progress. So be very careful here with this hallway. If we roll into the hallway and then immediately roll back, we will trigger a boulder. So hot on the heels of that boulder, there will be another angry Yeti. So make sure you defend yourself, and in order to maximise damage, we can put our guns away when he pounds his chest. And this is especially important in the original release version. So if we take a look into this room, we can see 2 serpent heads, and these are puzzle holes for the gem that we just picked up. But there are 2 of them, so we're going to need to find ourselves another golden gem. So if we run down to the end of the hallway where the boulder disappeared, we can grab this ladder and climb on up to the top. And at the top we can shimmy off to the side and land safely, and at the end here there will be a vase we can shoot with some Uzi clips. Once we have claimed those, jump across the gap, and then we can jump up this small slope, and we find ourselves in a corridor. Now there are quite a few pots here that we can shoot. That first one doesn't contain anything, and check out the alcoves. Behind this statue there is another pot, and if we shoot that we can claim some crossbow ammo. So pick that up, and then we can enter the following area. Now this is a nod to the puzzle in the original Kingdom level, which featured a bunch of cages. If we look up there we can see there's a jump switch, but we can't reach that yet, so we're going to need to do a few things first. So run up to this push block and push it into this room, and when we do that we're going to spawn a Yeti, so make sure you're ready to defend yourself. So as I was saying, this room is based on a puzzle in the original Kingdom that involved multiple levers to open and close different cage doors. So if you're like me, you might have found the multi-switch cage door a little confusing. So I wanted to reuse the concept, as I like the idea of being able to see into different areas but not reach them yet. So I've taken the idea and I've done something slightly different with it. So if we pull that switch we'll get a camera showing that something opened, but if we run into this cage we see that nothing has happened. So first of all, drop into this little pool of water, which is once again a nod to the original, and we will claim some ammo, and there are lots of creepy skulls inside. Shoot this pot and we can claim a small medkit. There is nothing under the second pot, but we're going to break it anyway. And if we run backwards, we can see that there is a switch above the doorway. So if we push the block back into its original position, we can then climb on top of the block and pull that lever switch. So pulling this switch is going to give us access to the next cage. So we can drop down and we see here that the dividing door has now opened. So I'll run into this area and we can now enter the hallway that the previous switch opened. As we pull this switch we'll get a camera showing that a block has raised in the next cage. So if we run up to this movable block and pull it out, we can then reach that next cage. So the ultimate goal here is to clear a path from the cage we're just entering to the first cage, as there is a timed switch, and in order to pull that timed switch and reach the door that we need to enter, we need to move this block out to allow direct access from the first cage to this one, as the timer is quite short. So if we move that cage out of the way, we can run into this room, and if we save our game, we are now ready to use this lever. And we see there the door opening, and we'll need to sprint into this cage and dive into this room before the door shuts. So if we jump off that slope, we can grab a ladder above us, and we can climb on up into another section. And as we do, we will be shown a pile of gold. Apparently though, Lara's not particularly interested in this. So if we run through the golden coins, that's not something you get to do every day, we can pick up a small medkit. And if we do, we will see a lever on the back of that wall. So we can pull that, and be very cautious as you enter this hallway. We will get dramatic music, and there is a spike wall approaching us and a flame guarding this next switch. So wait until the flame goes out, and as soon as it does, pull it, and this will allow us to reach the exit. So hurry out of that hallway, and we're now safe and we can pull this switch. As we do, we will be shown a camera view of a block raising in the room below, and you may realize that that is the room we were in before, and that will now allow us to reach that jump switch. So if we run up to this window, we can claim some Uzi clips and admire the forest outside. And we can now also claim some shotgun shells and leave this room. But before we leave this area altogether, we want to enter that hallway with the spike wall once again. The spike wall has now disappeared, and if we look to the left, we can run through this golden wall and claim ourselves a very important secret. There is a grenade launcher hidden behind this golden face. Whoops. Run back out. We can shoot this pot, but there's nothing under it. Just Lara must shoot all the pots. And now we can exit this area and return to the first cage from which we entered this area, and we can now see that a block has raised, and if we climb up onto the switch pillar, we can do a run, jump and grab in order to get to the top of that raising block and reach the jump switch. And what this does is it lowers the golden face to our left and reveals another golden gem. Let's go and grab that, and we have what we need to leave the area. So now we can make our way back through this hallway and return to the ladder. Be very careful not to fall down there, as don't forget there are spikes at the bottom. So we can grab the ladder and then don't drop down too far, otherwise Lara's feet will get spiked. So do a backflip onto the slope, and we can now run to the top and place the 2 golden gems in the serpent receptacles. Once we have placed both of these golden gems, we'll be entering a brand new area. And this section coming up was the first part of the level that I built. And originally, this was just meant to be a style unit to test out these new textures. But I loved this area so much that I ended up turning it into a full level. So we'll get a flyby showing us this area and the golden lava fall, which is a nod to the original, and we can pan round and see the river from another angle. I love this golden river, and we're going to want to be very careful as we leave the safety of this alcove. We're going to want to be sure to jump to the log, as once again if we touch the molten gold, then it will be very bad for Lara. As soon as you land, make sure you have your guns at the ready, as we will be ambushed by 2 yetis, and it's extremely easy to end up sliding into the golden river, so be very careful here not to do that. So it's best to back along this path, and if you get cornered, then try and jump over the yeti and back away once again, and eventually we'll be able to dispose of them. We'll now finally be free to appreciate our beautiful surroundings and the music that was playing. So let's save here, as we've now disposed of the yeti safely. And if we take a look around, there are several things that we can do in this area. We're going to want to pay particular attention to this turquoisey ledge, as it's possible to pull up here. Now if we look behind us, there is a tree branch that we can grab and some Uzi clips that we can claim. So if we look back to that ledge from which we just came, there is a way to grab that and shimmy around the corner, and there we'll find a lever switch. But before we do that, we're going to want to claim a secret. So if we hop to this small island which the yetis came from, so there is a base of a tree here, and we can walk here safely, and we can also jump forward and grab this ledge and pull up without sliding off. And here we can see there is another branch above us. So if we hop to this ledge, if we stand in this corner, we won't slide off, and we can grab the edge of a branch and find ourselves some goodies, some more Uzis. So if we did not claim the Uzis at the beginning of the level, this is another place in which you can claim them. And we also have the customary golden skull to denote a secret in this level. So be very careful to return safely to the base of the tree. It's very easy to slide off there, so it's a good idea to save as you're doing that. Hop back to this fallen tree, and we can cross the golden lava river once again and climb back to this turquoise ledge. Now if we look up, we can do a standing jump and grab the edge of this ledge and shimmy to the left. I say standing jump because if you do forward an action, Lara will not climb up there. So just do a normal jump and grab. Shimmy around the corner and we can let go and land on this diagonal leafy ledge, and then pull ourselves up into this alcove with a switch. Pull the switch and we get a camera showing the door at the end of the path has now opened. We are free to enter another new area. Make sure you drop down safely and we can now make our way to this door. Before we go inside, it's a good idea to save, as when we enter we are going to be shown a camera view of some yetis rushing to find us. If we turn to the right, there will be another yeti, so make sure you have your guns at the ready, shoot that yeti. And this is another place where it's a good idea to use the look button to change targets, as you can target the yeti that is closest to you and currently are rushing towards you, and try not to get cornered by the yetis. Try and use the full length of this hallway to back away from the yetis and shoot them before they reach you. And that was quite an onslaught. And we now find ourselves in this long corridor section. And if we run back to where we entered the area, we can take note of a few things. This is the part of the hallway where we entered, and if we look through the wooden grating, we can see into a large central area with lots of lava falls, and we'll need to come back here at the end once we've collected several artifacts. Run down this hallway and make sure you check out all the alcoves, as there is quite a large amount of ammo hidden in these alcoves, so it's always worth having a look. There is shotgun ammo and automatic ammo. Run right to the end of the hallway and take a look into the alcoves. We can see several areas. That on the right is still the big central room, and on the left there is an entrance to another part of the forest. So save, and as you slide down the slope you'll need to jump to this bridge in order to avoid falling into the lava lake far below us. As you saw there, I turned to the left and jumped to a ledge, and here on the back of this tree trunk there is a ladder, and this will allow us to climb down to the lava lake. And if we climb right to the bottom and then backflip, we will land on this safe ledge. Now if we look to the lava lake, we will see two very large lily pads, and these are safe tiles. Lara can stand on these without getting burnt. So hop to the second and then we can jump to another ledge, and if we see here, there is another ledge that we can jump to with a golden face, and this is another secret. So pick up all the items and we will need to retrace our steps back the way we came and use the ladder to climb back up to the upper part of the forest. So carefully hop back to this safe ledge, and then we can grab the ladder on the tree trunk and ascend back to the bridge above. Once again, this area is directly inspired by the original, so I really liked the room which had lots of bridges and tree trunks with ladders on in the original, and it was dark and mysterious and it really felt like being in the middle of a forest. So I've tried to recreate that here, but using next-gen textures and lots of cool objects, and I'm really happy with the way that it's come out. So if we jump to this bridge, we can run to the end and grab a crack. This will allow us to shimmy around this tree trunk. And if we continue, we can drop safely onto a branch the other side. And from here, we can hop to another small bridge. And if we turn around, there is another ladder on the back of this tree trunk. So from here, we can climb to the top. And as we ascend, the area will get lighter. As we climb up through the canopy, we are nearing the top of the forest. And I love this. We can now see daylight. Now to get off this ladder, there is a knack to it. So what you need to do is climb to the very top of the ladder and then climb Lara down once. And from there, that should be the right height to backflip to the ledge behind. You will then land at the top of that slope without sliding down. So next we are going to investigate a couple of pickups. As you saw there, if you slide down a small slope you can get some ammo, and if we follow the leafy trail around we can collect some more, including a large medkit. And as you can see, this is also a good spot from which to shoot the yetis, as they can't reach us from this ledge. So keep shooting them. One will inevitably keep running into that ledge. I have no idea why. I went to lots of lengths to try and stop that, but they just seem to like doing it. So we can now jump to this tree house and we can take a look around. There are a number of things hidden around here. So the first thing we're going to want to look at is this leafy ledge, and there's some crossbow ammo, but there's also a ladder at the back of the ledge, so do investigate that. And here we can claim a key, and this key allows us access to the ladder back up in the treehouse. So if we pull up this vine ladder, we can climb back up to the treehouse and use that key, and the key opens up a secret. So if we return to the treehouse, we can now use the treehouse key, which is what we just picked up. And this is going to drop the trapdoor at the top of the ladder. So we can pick up some grenades here and climb up the ladder. Now be vigilant when you jump off the ladder. You are going to be greeted by some very enthusiastic yetis, so be prepared for that. So do a backflip from the ladder, and here are the yetis. I'm going to grab something a little bit more powerful than the pistols, as they are at risk of knocking us off the roof, and we don't want that. That would be very bad. I took a bit of damage there. That is easy to avoid, but I'm not particularly worried about that. So pick up the golden skull, which registers the secret, but don't leave. Make sure that you pick up the automatic pistol, as this is going to come in useful later on. So this is where you can find the automatic pistol in the game. So we have now found all the pickups in this area. So what remains is to make our way back to the golden slope and take a look around and admire the scenery. And there is a leafy trail that we can follow around the edge of the pit. So as is the case with the original level, what we need to do next is to jump to the golden slope with the face at the top, and we then need to let Lara slide down the slope. There are a number of ways of going down this slope. You can, after letting Lara slide for a short distance, jump to this next higher part of the slope to get a bit more distance, but it doesn't necessarily matter. There are a few ways of sliding down here. And once we reach the bottom, we can jump into this hidden nook and claim some ammo, and then jump back to the tile with the face, as that's a safe tile. And from there we can then do a forward jump to the next safe ledge, and here we will get a flyby, and this shows us the dark, mysterious forest area that lies in front, and it shows us a number of things that we need to pay attention to in here. So, as the mysterious music plays, we are shown a door with a keyhole that we will need to open. And the camera pans round, and past this tree branch, there is an opening, and we can see a bridge inside. And we're going to need to head there first. So once the flyby is finished, it's a good idea to save your game, just in case you should happen to slide forward as I just did. And as you can see, those pits are deadly, and there are a number of them in here, so if there are skulls, it's probably best to avoid the area. So we can follow the trail around and be careful to hop over the pit, and if we make our way around this area, we can reach an area with a secret. And whoops, I just managed to salvage that. That could have been disastrous, but sometimes you can rectify the jump if you miss it. So I'm not going to jump from that side, I'm going to go around and I'm going to jump from here. So, whoops, don't stumble, Lara, please. If we get into the right position here, we can jump to a safe ledge. Now there is a shortcut to the next area through that hedge that was on the right, but we don't want to go there yet. We want to claim a number of pickups, and we can do this by exploring this area. So I just picked up a large medkit, and I've remembered to actually light a flare. I'm a terror, I never use flares normally, so now it's a little easier to see which ledges are safe. And just behind us there is a pickup of shotgun ammo, so I'm going to claim that. And there is also a secret hidden inside this bush, but no, a yeti just appears out of that bush, and we need to dispose of him before he can knock us into that skull pit on the right. So once you have safely disposed of the yeti, it is safe to claim the secret from within the bush, and we have another golden skull there. It's quite easy to exit this area, just do a running jump onto this ledge, and we could have entered the area with the secret from that ledge also, but I went round the long way this time. So next we're going to want to follow the trail around these skull pits and be very careful not to land in any of them. We can run past these mushrooms and make our way over to this tree. And there's another ledge that we can stand on in between the skull pits, and we can now climb up this vine ladder. This will give us access to the upper level of the room. So climb onto the tree branch, and if we look to our left, we will notice the door that has a keyhole next to it that we were shown in the flyby. But we can't open that yet, so what we want to do is jump to this next ledge, and there is a leafy trail that we can follow around the room. Whoops, that was close. So follow the ledges around. You can stand on numerous ledges, and make sure you choose the areas that are not sloped, and then we can do a run jump to this ledge, and this will allow us to gain access to the ledge with the bridge that we were shown earlier. So for me, this is one of my favourite parts of the level. I really love this bridge with the golden lava fall. So a run to the other side, and we need to be fairly careful with this jump here, as it's not quite as far as you think it is, because this ledge is lower and it's partially obscured by a tree. So if we look down there, we can see a lava pool, and we're going to come back to that. First, we want to enter this hallway, and you can see instantly that there are flames on either side. Now, we can crawl under the first lot of flames, but after that, the trick to these flames is the fact that they are every other. They are not generally opposite. It's only the one at the far end, so you can run around them. So pull the switch in this alcove, and that is timed. So you're going to need to wait until that flame goes out, and then as quickly as you can run in a zigzag pattern around the other flames, and you should be able to make it into this room without too much trouble. If the last two flames are both switched on, then you can crawl underneath them, and you have just enough time to make it into that room. So we now have the key that we need in order to open that door that we saw at the far end of the forest. But before we go back to that area, we're going to want to claim a secret. And you may have noticed this vine ladder, so descend to this small diagonal ledge. Be very careful not to step in the lava, and jump to this middle island in the middle of the lava pond, and then to this ledge. And from here we can claim another secret and some more very welcome Uzi ammo. So we now need to return to that small ledge and climb back up the vine ladder, and then we can run back across the bridge and return to the area with that door. And we can now run back across the golden bridge. So I had a lot of fun building this deep forest area, as I call it, and it was partly inspired by the room in the original game, which had all the trapdoors and the yetis. If we want to get down safely, we can grab the crack in this tree, and that allows us to drop safely back to the forest floor. There are two ways of getting back to the door and the keyhole, and the first is to do what I'm doing now. We can take the low path along the forest floor, but we could also retrace our steps on the upper level also, and take the leafy trail on the upper level. So it's really up to you as to which option you prefer. So I'm going to climb back up the ladder and return to the tree branch that way. And we now find ourselves back at the door and the keyhole. And this takes us into a whole new area. So I'm going to save the game, and we're going to place the deep forest key into this keyhole. So we'll now be leaving the forest area and entering part of the city section. And if we look up as we enter, there's a rather gruesome sight of a skeleton impaled on some spikes. But if we look closely, we can see that he's holding a bow, and we're going to need to claim that bow for a puzzle. So if we pull that switch, we open a door, and we want to sprint over this bridge, as yes, it's trapped with spikes, so we definitely don't want to linger on that bridge, as a couple of sections are also collapsible. So we can claim this key from the pedestal, and we can now drop down and use this shimmy crack, but be very careful because there's a flame emitter on this tile. So we want to stop just before the lily pads and wait for the flame to go out, and then we can continue to shimmy along. And we can go around the corner, and don't worry about the spike texture on this tile. It looks like spikes could come up here, but they've actually been turned off in order to allow us to proceed back to the other room. And it always makes me cringe standing on it, even though I know the spikes are turned off. So if we run around to the back of this pillar, we can see the keyhole for that skull key, but we can't place it yet because there's a hole that needs to be filled, and for that we are going to use this crate. So if we pull it out, we can move it into position and push it into that hole so that we can stand on it and place the key. It's well worth remembering that in custom levels created using TRNG that it is possible to push blocks off ledges, and we're going to do that here so that Lara can stand on the block and place that key. It's a very useful mechanic there. So push the block into the hole, and we can now stand on it and place the skull key in its slot. And we're then shown a camera view as we run out from behind the pillar, and this is attempting to draw our attention to the fact that that skeleton has dropped down, and we are now able to pick up his bow, and we're going to need that for a puzzle higher up in this room. So I climb up this wall. As you can see by the grooves, Lara can use it as a ladder. And don't climb to the very top, otherwise Lara will hit her head on the ledge above. So climb nearly to the top and then backflip. Whoops, I'm wasting all my Uzi ammo on pots. So shoot the pots, and we can go around the room and claim some ammo. So there's some automatic ammo, there's also some Uzi ammo here somewhere. And, whoops, oh, it's under another pot. There we go. We can pick it up. 2 more Uzi pickups. Plenty of Uzi ammo in this game. I like to be generous with Uzi ammo. And we can look up and see that there's a crack, and the way that we reach that is by backflipping onto that slope, and I just missed it. There we go. And from there we can jump and grab the shimmy crack, and this will allow us to traverse around the room until we can eventually pull up on this ledge. As you are shimmying around, you may have noticed that a couple of the floor tiles look slightly out of place, and if we pull this switch, that will shed some light on that. You can see there that a number of the tiles raise and another one lowers, and that is a key part of a puzzle that we're going to be doing here in a moment. So shoot the pot at the end of the balcony and you can claim a small medkit. And we are also going to want to climb further up the room. So position Lara underneath this ladder and we can grab this and ascend to the top of the room. And once we get to almost the top, we can backflip and land on another ledge. So jump there and we are shown a camera hint of that statue in the corner, and that's trying to tell us that we need to light that statue on fire. Now if we enter this area, we can see there a beehive and it's lit up, and there's also a campfire directly beneath it, and this is part of the puzzle. So if we have a look around this area, there's a small medkit we can claim and a pretty butterfly flying around. I love this small area. So we're back in the forest. So if we jump back to this ledge and look up, we have a good angle from which to shoot the beehive. So if we combine the crossbow with the laser sight, we can aim and shoot the beehive. And what this does is put out the fire underneath, and this will allow us to claim a torch. It is possible to cheat and pick up the torch and then put Lara out in the water, but that's not the dev intended route. So now that we have the torch, we can run into this hallway, and if we run to the bottom, there is a switch that allows us to open this door. We'll get a camera showing a block lower on the bridge in the room outside, and if we run outside this door, we'll find ourselves back on this middle level. And what we can now do is stand on the edge and chuck the torch back down, or we can simply drop straight down. Now we do lose a bit of health this way, so it's really up to you. You can drop the torch down and then drop Lara down safely if you are worried about health loss. But we're now going to discover the purpose of these raising and lowering blocks. So we're going to drop the torch on that block down in the hole, and we're going to use the blocks to climb back to the upper level with the switch. So we could have also come this way if we wanted to get down to the bottom room without losing health. So if we pull the switch, we can see the blocks return to their original position, and the torch is now at floor level in this room. So what we want to do now is pick up the torch and drop it on the block the other side, closest to the ledge where we climb up. So now use the slope, come on Lara, use the slope to climb back to the shimmy crack, and this is the last time we will need to use that. So now we need to shimmy back around, and I'm sure you've guessed by now what we need to do is pull the switch once again, and that will raise the blocks and allow us to jump up to this ledge with the torch, and from there we can go back to that sloped hallway and get back to the top of the room with the torch. So let's pick it up and run back along this balcony, and there we can enter the hallway that we opened, and from here we can get back to the top level of the room. So lighting that brazier on the balcony is going to open up a way back to the main area with the corridor around the room with the golden waterfalls. And this is because we need the torch in that area. So this whole journey has been to claim the torch. So if we shoot that pot, we can get some more arrows and pick up our torch again. So we most certainly do not want to lose our torch, because if you remember, in that main area there were a number of torches on the wall that were unlit, and each one of these opens up a section in that area. So we want to carry our torch back across this bridge and re-enter this hallway, and this may look vaguely familiar. We're now on the other side of the room with the golden waterfalls, so make sure you have some powerful weapons ready. I'll use the Uzis here and dispose of the Yetis that come rushing towards you. So now that we're in this area, there are a couple of things we can do. I'm going to pull out my bow and I'm going to start shooting these piles of bones on the floor, and these are going to open up a secret, and we can claim some more sneaky Uzis hidden behind this ledge. And if we run back along the corridor, we should be able to find some more bones. So I'm going to remember where I left the torch, because it's very important that we come back for it. So shoot some more bones. There are 5 in total. So you may have realised we're now on the opposite side of that room with the golden waterfalls, and this system of corridors essentially loops right around that main area, and that area is inspired by a similar room in the original kingdom, except in the centre of the corridors in Kingdom there was a slightly different room. So I've moved the room with the golden waterfalls to be in the centre, as I thought it was quite a dramatic room. So if we see there at the end of the corridor, there is a torch that we need to light, and we have now shot all the bones and claimed most of the items that are hidden in this corridor. It's always worth looking around. I've hidden plenty of pickups around here. Now that we have shot all the bones, we're going to run back to this leafy wall, and we can run right through it, and the door behind it is now open, and we can claim the secret. So it's similar to a secret seen in the catacombs in Tomb Raider 4, where you shoot bones in order to open a secret. So I've picked my torch back up, and we're now going to run back to the end of this room and use the torch on the brazier on the wall. We can light that, and we're shown a block lowering. Now if you're confused as to where that is, all you have to do is look up. But before we investigate that, what we're going to want to do is throw the torch through this gap, and we may need to stand at the back of the ledge in order to do this. And yep, it's gone through the hole. That's good. So that gap is to allow us to throw our torch into the original hallway where we first entered the level, and we can use this alcove to drop Lara through, but we can't take the torch through that way. So we can now pick up the torch, and it's now on the right side of the hole, and we can use it to light a number of braziers on the wall where we first entered this section. So now we see this door open, and this is the first of 3 areas that we're going to want to investigate in order to claim an artifact. So before we do this, we're going to want to save our game. As you can see, this room is pretty deadly. You may have noticed the switch in that alcove on the left, and we're going to want to reach it, so the best way is to back off the ledge and shimmy around to this alcove. This switch is timed, so before we make this run we're going to want to save our game, and we need to time ourselves past the spikes. That's the most important thing. So run and jump to the ledge just as the spikes are coming up, and that way you can usually make it, and we did that pretty quickly. If we run around that fence, we can enter this hallway and claim an artifact, and we're now shown a flyby for a statue And you'll see the reason why here in a second. We're being attacked by a wraith. Now, if we run down this hallway, it's best to sprint, as there are spike traps in the floor, and you need to run over them quickly. And if we climb up on top of this block and crouch by this statue, this is a totem for the wraith. And if we stay here long enough, the wraith will fly inside it, and we can dispose of the wraith. Shoot this pot and you can claim a medkit to counteract any damage you took from the wraith. So we've now claimed the first of 3 artifacts that we need, and we're now going to make our way back down this hallway in order to claim the second 2. So we can light this brazier here on the right, and we're now in the section where we first entered this area. And that door will open, but we're not going to go in there quite yet. We're going to need all 3 of the artifacts before we enter the central room. 2 of them are going to be used in that central room, and another artifact we need for the bridge. So we can shoot that crystal formation and jump into this room. And you can hear spikes further up. We're going to jump onto that slope and grab this ladder, and be very careful not to climb into the spikes. And once you're just below them, wait for them to retract, and then jump and backflip and grab this ladder and climb up. So climb almost to the top and then jump and backflip once again to grab the opposite ladder, and now we can climb into this alcove and climb onto the second ladder on the right and then drop off. And there'll be another ladder for us to descend in this alcove. And now we can run through this corridor, and here there will be some spiked stairs, and we're going to need to be very careful to time our jump through the spikes. And there are some spikes from the ceiling in this alcove. Oops, I mistimed it there slightly. And it is possible to get through these without taking any damage. So duck into this alcove and claim the small medkit. And there is a second stair that we're going to need to reach, a second safe stair. And now we can dodge over the last lot of spikes and have a powerful gun at the ready. I'm going to use my shotgun, as you will be ambushed by 3 yetis in this room. I was quite mean here, putting 3 at once, but Lara can deal with them, so just try and keep mobile and try not to hit any slopes as I did there, as Lara will stumble and you're more likely to get punched by the yetis. So now that we can look around the room, check out this alcove. There will be some shotgun ammo for us to pick up here. As we look around this cave, we can see that there is another area through that barrier, but we can't go through the vines currently. We're going to need to find a switch in order to open the door into that area. So climb on up into this gap and be ready for another yeti ambush. There are lots of these here, so pull out a powerful weapon and dispose of the yeti. Once he's safely out of the way, we can turn around and find the switch with which we need to open the door, and we'll get a camera view of the door outside opening. So now we can leave this crawl space and we can do a crawl roll to get out. Oh, apparently Lara doesn't want to do it right now. She will struggle to do it sometimes if the ceiling is too low, so apparently there isn't enough headroom here. So we'll do the old-fashioned back out of crawl space move instead. And there's another yeti waiting to greet us. Surprise, surprise. So pull out your weapon again and deal with him. And there's some more shotgun ammo in that corridor, as you may have seen just now. So once you've disposed of the yeti, it's worth venturing back there and picking it up. So run back around to the hallway and pick up the ammo, and then we can venture out into a new area. And once again, this is one of my favourite parts of the level. I know I say that a lot, but I do really love this level. But this is one of my favourite areas, and I love the light beams in here and the atmosphere. It really feels to me like you're in the middle of a forest here. So we can run across this bridge and look around. There are a number of things that we need to find in here. So if we look down, there is a ladder, and that is actually a return path. So what we're going to do first is hop to this branch, and we can then hop to another branch on the other side of the tree, and from here we can jump to another slightly less obvious branch on the next tree and do another jump to the branch opposite, and here there is a shimmy crack, and we're going to need to drop down and shimmy around this corner, and here there is a hidden switch. Now this is the first of 2 switches that we're going to need to pull, and this is going to raise 2 trapdoors. The purpose of these 2 trapdoors is to complete the monkey swing that is overhead, and once we've raised both of the trapdoors, we will be able to progress along the entirety of the monkey swing. So you may have seen there that there is a golden skull below us, and we can access that from here. So slide down and grab the edge of this crack before you drop into the lava, and we can drop down onto this tree root. And here is some ammo that is a part of the secret, and to climb the actual secret we can jump to this ledge and pick up the golden skull in order to register the secret. So jump back to the previous ledge, and we're now perfectly placed to progress to reach the second lever. So if we run, jump and grab the edge of this ledge, we can then shimmy to the right and drop down on another safe ledge on the other side of the lava pool. If you look to your left, you'll see some breakable platforms in the lava, and the aim here is to time a jump across these without getting burnt by the flame in the middle. So time your jump carefully, and you'll be able to pull up to the safety of this ledge on the other side. Pull the switch and you'll be shown that the second of the 2 trapdoors has raised. And now, in order to return, you can jump and grab the underside of the bridge. And once again, we need to be careful and mindful of that flame, but the camera angle will show you when the flame is on or off, so that you can time your way past it. And if you shimmy right to the end of this monkey swing, you can drop back onto the ledge from which we came. And now if we climb up here and go to the left, we can pull ourselves back onto the bridge, and from here we'll be able to reach the monkey swing. So run across the bridge and jump to the right, and we can climb up onto this ledge, and from here we can reach the monkey swing. So do a standing jump and grab the monkey bars above, and now we can shimmy our way along them and follow the trail around, and eventually we will come to those burners that we saw in the camera hint. They are similar to the traps in Tomb Raider 3 Medubu Gorge, and we will need to time our way past them carefully. Now this one is slightly easier because it's on a corner, so we'll be able to get past this quite quickly. So as soon as it's out, make your way around the corner, and we continue to shimmy, and as we paused for this second one, we're provided with an excellent view of the horizon of this level, and I really love the Kingdom horizon. This is the original Kingdom horizon that was used in Tomb Raider 2, and I really love the colours of it, and the fact that it makes you feel as though you're in the middle of mountains. It's very nostalgic for me. I love it so much. So once we drop here, we'll need to time our way past this blade, but have a powerful weapon drawn. I'm going to use the grenade launcher because, as you saw there, we were ambushed by a yeti, and we can pick up this glowing artifact, and we'll be shown a camera hint showing where we need to place it. So what we now need to do is make our return, roll once again through this blade, being careful to time your way through, and now we can jump and grab the monkey bars again. We'll need to return to the bridge, and there is a slight shortcut. You won't need to go the full length of the monkey bars this time around. You will need to dodge the first flame though. Once again, a view of the horizon. I love the colours in this level, and this is partly why I was so keen to build this. I really love the cyany or turquoise colour greens in Kingdom. They are so unique, and I really enjoyed building with them. When contrasted with the gold colour, they are so rich and colourful. So as you saw there, we can drop to the tree branch and then jump back to the bridge from there. And we now need to return to the main area. So run back through the cave, and unfortunately this does mean we have to go back through the spike trap. But if you time it well, it's not too difficult, and that was a bit sloppy once again. I always seem to pull up at the wrong moment, but I'm not too worried about my health. It is possible to complete this level without using medkits if you're careful. So if you jump back to this ladder, you can climb back up and access the room with the golden lava falls once again. You can hear lots of noisy spikes in this room. So pull up at the top of the ladder, and you may be wondering how we're going to get back. And the answer is another monkey swing. So do a standing jump up to reach it, and we can go either left or right, it doesn't matter. There is a circular monkey swing all around the room, and the most important thing is to time your way past the burners. And once again, they're on a corner, so it's not quite as difficult to duck out of the way. So shimmy up to the wall and then drop off, and grab this ladder at the end, and we can now drop back into this hallway. And this may look familiar to you. This is the main hallway around the central lava fall room. So we now only have one more challenge room to complete and one more artifact to find, and that is the exit to the first challenge room that we completed. We can see here there is the alcove that allows us to access the other side of the corridor, and we're going to want to climb back up into here, as the final room that we need is on this side of the corridor. So a run down the hallway, and here we will find the opening into which we now need to progress. So save your game and run inside. We'll be shown a camera view of a giant wasp emerging from a sort of hive. And what I'm going to do here is equip my crossbow with some explosive ammo, as those giant wasps are a bit of a pain, and we can make short work of them with our explosive crossbow. So here we will see a bridge, and it's not yet extended. We're going to need to use one of the artifacts that we found earlier in order to extend this bridge. So this will then allow us to climb further up the room and claim the final artifact that we need to use in the main lava fall room. So run across the bridge, and there's another wasp waiting for us, and if we turn around there'll be another one behind us. And as you can see, the crossbow with explosive ammo makes short work of those wasps. It really is the best weapon to use against them, although the automatic pistol is also pretty good. So if we run around here and stand on this slightly higher ledge with a primrose on it, we can pull ourselves up to a higher branch, and there are several places we can go from here. So I'm going to save and do a jump up to this ledge, and this will allow us to access some goodies on the other side. So if we hop forward over this slope, we will slide a bit, but we will land on this ledge, and we can pick up some grenades and a large medkit. Be very careful here, it's very easy to slide and end up in the lava pool. So do another jump and land back on the safe ground, and we're then going to want to use the primrose ledge to climb back up to the branch. And from here we can turn to the right and jump to this ledge. Now you can see the vine ladder there, but before climbing it, if we run to this ledge, we can grab some automatic pistol ammo. And to take a moment to admire the horizon once again. I love love that so much, as I've mentioned already. And we jump back to the branch, and now we can climb the vine ladder. Now once we reach the top, we will need to climb around to the left and drop onto this higher branch. And when we do, you will need to have a powerful weapon at the ready, as there will be more wasps waiting for us. And there's a random flame there. That's the flame bug. Unfortunately, that's not something I can fix. That's caused by dropping the torch on the ground somewhere in the level, and it's a Tomb Raider 4 bug, so in any level where you have the torch, you will get that bug. As you see here, there are more wasps, and I'm going to make a swift work of them with powerful weapons. So I'm going to shoot the second one with the automatic pistol. That one's a bit further away. So pick up some more automatic ammo, and if you look up, you can see 2 more beehives, similar to the one that we shot earlier on. And we need to get out a weapon with a laser sight. I'm not going to waste my explosive ammo. I will select normal ammo and look up and shoot them. And this time they break to reveal ropes. Now you may be thinking, oh no, not ropes. Well, they're not too bad. I have lined them up so that they are straight, so there's no need for any tricky swinging between them. You don't have to line yourself up. All you have to do is point Lara straight for the second rope and swing, and we can grab the second one. Once we grab the second rope, the easiest thing to do is not to try and swing into the hole with the massive nest. What we need to do is aim ourselves to the sloped branch just below that, so just below where you see the group of ferns. And if we aim ourselves for that, we can slide off the ledge and grab the edge, and then shimmy to the right and pull up on this branch, and there we can shoot at the wasp. And if we hop around behind this branch to another branch, we can pick up some goodies. So claim your prize, and then we'll need to hop back to the previous branch, and from there we can enter the nest. So walk forwards, and then we can do a forward jump and grab the edge, and make sure you have a powerful weapon selected, as you will be ambushed by a wasp as you enter. So we can claim our ultimate prize, which is the second artifact, and we'll be shown a camera of where we need to use it. So take out your crossbow once again. Ah! I'd forgotten about that one. That was a proper ambush. He nearly pushed me off the edge, and they like to do that, so be very careful not to let that happen. So there is a quick way down. If we jump back to this branch and drop to the edge, we can simply let Lara drop, slide down the slope, and she will safely drop to the ground without taking any damage whatsoever, and there's no need to go back across the rope swings. So now we can exit this area, and there's some crossbow ammo I apparently missed earlier, so pick that up, and we can see through the grating one of the receptacles for one of the 2 artifacts that we found. So now all that remains in this section is to return to the entrance to the area with the golden lava falls, and we can use our 2 artifacts. So jump up and hop into the alcove that we opened once again in order to return to the other side of this red hallway. And here is the area where we need to enter the main central room with the golden lava falls. So we've heard a lot about this, we've seen sneak peeks, but we've not been in here yet. So trigger a flyby as you step into the room, and we'll be greeted with some nostalgic music from Tomb Raider 2, and the camera view will show us the 2 receptacles. So we're now going to need to place the 2 artifacts. So from here we can jump to the right, and we're going to want to aim for the slightly darker triangle of yellow there, as that is the only place that we can safely stand. So place the first artifact, and we're going to need to repeat the journey back across the golden ledge, and once again stand on the darker section in order to hop across. Once you are safely back on the main walkway, you can do a running jump to this ledge and then proceed around the edge of the room, and you can run and jump a fair way around this room. So do another running jump across this golden lava fall, and once we reach this point we can't actually go any further on the upper level. It may look like it, but you actually can't. So the best thing to do is to drop down and just let Lara slide, and then we can run and jump over the lava fall and hop up to these ledges. These angled, slightly darker tiles will allow you to stand on them. So from here you can do a running jump and pull up to place the second forest mask. And here we will get a flyby showing us that the golden lava turns into water. Or is it lava? Maybe it's honey. Maybe that's what those giant insects were producing. Plot twist there. And here in the water you can see a yellow glowing crystal, and we will be plagued by some more wraiths. But fear not, we just got a camera view of 2 totems, and those should attract the wraiths so that they leave Lara alone. But if they don't and they need some encouragement, you can always hop out of the water and go on the ledges where those statues are and crouch next to them. But I think we've now dealt with the wraith, so we do need to climb out and climb to one of these higher ledges, because you may have seen the crystal in the water, and we're going to need to use the laser sight in order to shoot that. So equip a laser sighted weapon and shoot the crystal in the water, and it will shatter and reveal a key that we need. So dive into the water and pick up this key, and we'll be shown a camera hint of a door opening. That's back in the red corridor. So we can pick up here some crossbow ammo just in case you were out of ammo for your laser sighted weapons. That is there for you. So now we can pull up on the one flat waterfall. There is only one that's flat that will allow us to climb up, and handily it's the one on the same side as the sloped blocks, and we can climb up on those. And we now want to grab this yellow ledge on our left, and this will allow us to pull up. And in case you were wondering what this switch was for, this is a shortcut back to the red hallway. So this will allow us to exit the lava room on the opposite side. Now sometimes there's a yeti waiting here, but I think it depends at what point of the level you come out into this hallway. If you do it earlier on there will be a yeti, but I think we're okay. I'm just going to double check, as I don't really want to be ambushed. No, he doesn't appear to be around. So what we need to do now is to go and find the door that opened, that we were shown with the camera hint, and that is down the end of this hallway. So we can enter this very red room with a thatched roof, and if we run and jump we can end up on this balcony. And if we jump to the balcony on the left hand side, there is a pot we can shoot, and that contains some more Uzi ammo. It's quite a tricky jump, so be careful there. Shoot the pot and grab the ammo, and we can run and jump back to that balcony. Now if we look down we will see it's not a particularly high room, but we do need to be careful still as we drop to the floor, as we could lose health here. So you might see that this wall has quite a few shimmy cracks, and this is not only to allow us to get down safely, but it's to allow us to get back up should we drop down here prematurely. So drop to the ground and take a look around, and what we need to do is crawl underneath the fence on our left, as there is a hidden crawl space with a lever behind that. So crouch and crawl on in, and we can pull the switch, and what this is going to do is open the door in the room, and this will allow us to return to a familiar area. You may recall, right back at the start of the level, I said we would be returning to that area, and as we pull up here, you might recognise this cave. This is the very start of the level. So, as we did before, be careful to avoid the spike pit, and we can now return to this golden keyhole. We finally have the key to enter this area. I love it when you return to areas a long time later with the key that you need. So now we can enter this area, and we're greeted with Tomb Raider Legend Peru music, which I think is quite atmospheric for this cave. And we can look in here, and it's quite a dramatic, a large cave. This is another big area. So what we're going to want to do is follow the ledges around to the right, and these will allow us to jump to the ledge opposite. And there is a small trail that we can follow around the top level of this cave. You might be eager to jump down into the water, and we will be doing that, fear not. But first, it's easier to do the upper part of the cave. So crouch under this low ledge, and now we can run across this bridge. As you may have realized, I am pretty fond of bridges in my building, and I really enjoyed using them in this level. So jump to this ledge, and we can now run and jump to another bit of broken bridge and hop on up to this ledge, and this indicates that there is another part of the trail here. So we can light a flare in this dark hallway and run to the end, but do be careful, don't run straight down. When you see this bone, you need to stop, as there is a spike trap here, and it's the equivalent of a Tomb Raider 1 clang clang door. It can catch you out very easily. So run into this golden room, and we can see that there is something under that floor. For now, run past that and into this room, and we'll enter a lift. So hop back as soon as you enter the lift, as you can get burnt by that flame emitter. So run forward once again, and we want to dismount the lift on this platform, as if we stay on it right to the top, we will be deposited in a spike ceiling, and we don't want that. So here we can see a boulder, and if we press action behind it, Lara will push it, and we'll get a cutscene of it dropping and breaking the floor below, and this now means that we can access the area beneath the floor. But first, we can run and jump into these alcoves, and there are some goodies waiting here for us to collect. Make sure you don't accidentally slide down one of the slopes before collecting all the goodies, as you won't be able to return to this area once you leave it. And you also need to be careful when you drop to the floor below. Make sure that you slide down backwards and grab the edge to ensure that you drop straight into the water below. You can accidentally land on the ground, and that would be very bad for Lara. So pull out of the water, and we can see here an alcove with golden faces, and if we walk forward we will pick up an artifact. That is the Golden Mask of Tornarsuk. I think that's how you say it. So we can now pull up out of this room and make sure you dodge the blade trap. So now that we have the golden mask, we can now leave this area. The exit door is open. So a return to the main cave, and it's now a time to investigate the water. So take a quick look around and admire the view from here. It's better to dive from the bridge, otherwise you could hit your head on the bank below. So make sure you're diving into deep water and do a graceful swan dive into the deep section. And we can now surface and take a look around. There are a number of pickups in the water, so I'm going to collect those. So we're going to swim to this section near the yellow crystal, and there is some Uzi ammo here, and there is also some automatic ammo in the water. So I'm going to swim around this small island, and there will be some automatic ammo behind that. There is also a large medkit on this small island, so we'll need to swim back to the other side, and we'll be able to climb out and claim that large medkit. As you may have guessed, we are nearing the end of this level. There is one last area to visit, and this is one of my longer levels. We've now been playing for well over an hour. So I'm going to show you one last thing in this room. There are 2 more pickups that we can get. So if we swim to this ledge, there is a way to climb out. And this is where you would need to go if you fell in the water prematurely. So we can pull out onto this ledge with the grass, and hidden in the grass there is a small medkit. So we're going to run through here, and there is one more pickup further along the ledge, but that is a vine ladder ladder that we could use to return to the entry ledge, and you can use that if you fall into the water at the beginning. So here are some grenades, and it's well worth picking those up. And now we can slide back down into the water. It doesn't really matter how we do that. And we can swim to the ledge with the golden door. As you can see here, there is a golden face through the door, and we're going to want to run towards that. And there is a pillar inside the room, and we're going to want to run around that pillar. You can see here there is another ladder with a spike trap halfway up, so we're going to want to carefully time a jump and backflip to grab the ladder behind us, and then we can climb up and do another jump, backflip and grab above the spikes. And there will be a crawl space directly behind us, and we can use this in order to enter the final area of the level. Pull into the crawl space and we can do a crawl roll in order to exit on the other side. And now we can run into another open area. As I said, this is the final area, and make sure you have a powerful weapon drawn, as you will be greeted by some resident yetis. The grenade launcher made short work of those. So follow the trail upwards and have your weapon ready a second time, as there will be one final yeti running around this log to greet you. So make sure he doesn't get too close. And we can take one final look at that view. I absolutely love that view. So the only thing that remains is a final boss battle. So draw a weapon of your choice, make sure you save your game just in case, and run on into this final area. And we will be greeted with some dramatic music. The camera will pan and show us a giant golden head, and from its mouth a giant golden eagle emerges. This is the same boss that was in Tomb Raider 2. So we're going to blast him with our Uzis. Try not to let him corner you. Sometimes he will get stuck on objects in the room, so hopefully he won't do that today. And now we're going to get our grenade launcher out, and whew, that was close. No, Lara, quick, get out of the corner. He's very good at cornering you. And boom, wow, that made short work of him. So now that we have defeated the boss, we can run into the mouth of the golden head. Inside we will find some pickups, so this is just in case you happen to run out of ammo fighting the boss. There is some stuff there. Now all that remains is to place the golden mask into its receptacle, and the exit door will open. So that was Forest Kingdom, and I took an hour and 20 minutes to play, and I got all 8 secrets. So Lara can now run up the hallway, and we can see her jeep waiting at the end. So that was Forest Kingdom. I hope you guys have enjoyed this mega long video. I decided to record this as a single playthrough rather than splitting it into 2 videos, as it made sense to me, so I hope you enjoy the mega video. If you did enjoy, please do consider liking and subscribing, and if you do subscribe, please do hit the little notification bell so that you're notified when I upload future content. So, this has been Agent XP. I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. TTFN.